Hi guys, in this final video I want to go over how to build the teleport system into our Shield minimap. So first things first, we need to get into a mode where we can modify this canvas really cleanly, and that is like so. Next, I want to basically be able to have an icon representing what quadrant we want to teleport to. And to do that, I'm going to have basically 4 images that I can turn on or off in each of the quadrants, and then I'll just turn one on at a time. And those images are going to be based on a texture I created, a simple kind of yellow square, which I can then export to my textures folder. But if you want to use these types of textures on the canvas, you need to set them to Sprite 2D and UI. When you apply that, you automatically get transparency and a couple other things. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to UI, create an image. I'm going to select the sprite to be that thing. And then I'm just going to kind of set it up the way I want. Maybe a little bit bigger. Something like that. See if I can round these numbers out. 117, 117. So that'll be one of them. I'll call this thing the selector. Or let's call it the select icon. There we go. I want 4 of them. And each one needs a different position. I'm also paying attention to the order I'm building these in, 1, 2, 3, 4, because I'm going to have to keep up with that order later. Alright, so there you go. I have 4 of these guys. Typically speaking, I'll have all but one of them turned off. Now for some code to control this thing. I'm going to write a script attached to the minimap canvas and link it all up. So I'm going to call this minimap selector. Hopefully MonoDevelop will pop up. There it is. There's my minimap selector. So what do I have? I am using UnityEngine.ui. I am going to create an array of images called the icons. Why not? Note that when you create a public array, you can then come into Unity, and on the game object, if I drag this onto there as a component, we get this icon. I'll put all 4 and drag these guys in the same order I built them, so that element 0 of my array is the top left corner, and then it just grows like you read a book, across to the right and then down. That's important because I need to be able to jump these guys to one or another. I'm going to write a public, well, I'm going to keep up with a couple things. One, public int current ID. That's the ID 0 through 3 of what we currently have selected. And then public void select ID. So this method will not only change the current ID, but it will turn off and on everything. So for int I equals 0, I less than 4, I plus plus. We're going to loop through the icons. I'm going to say if I is equal to current ID. Or actually, I can do this even cooler. I can simply say icons dot sub I dot enabled, and that is going to be true or false depending on whether or not I is equal to the current ID. So now if here I write something like select ID 2, then when my game starts up, we see that only one is selected, and here we see current ID is 2. All right, so now I want kind of to test this functionality and tie in teleporting the player. And we want to build any kind of test code in like a special class because we want to turn it off when we switch over to the Vive controller. So I'm going to create a C# script here called PC test player. And the PC test player is not going to work with the Vive controllers, but we will turn it on or off as needed. And right now it's just going to be using the teleport system. So let's see. Public, what do I call that thing? The minimap selector. Minimap selector, that is for teleport selector. Link that guy up. That guy was rigged right here on the minimap canvas. And then in here, I'm going to use some really basic user input. Get key down, key code dot, let's say down arrow, right? We can do something like this. We can say teleport selector is going to be what? Teleport dot select new ID dot current ID plus 2. Let's see if that makes sense to you guys. If I call this 0, 1, 2, 3, and you press the down arrow, I want to go either from 0 to 2 or 1 to 3. Either way, that is adding 2 to the ID of the box I want to jump to. If you guys agree with that, you will be okay with just the opposite. Up arrow is -2. The right arrow is what? Well, if I'm at 0, I want to go to 1. If I'm at 1, I want to go to 2. If I'm at 2, I want to go to 3. If I'm at 3, well, I'd want to go back to 0. We'll take care of that in a second. The point is that we add 1. And on the left arrow, we subtract 1. If we're okay with that code, then we have this set up. Now, if you press the wrong stuff, you go out of bounds and nothing happens. It's just kind of weird. Want to fix that with a little bit of math? You guys should know the mod function, the remainder operator as it's called. It's the %sign. If I come to my minimap selector here, I can write a little bit of code that says ID %4. And then I'm going to write an ID plus that. That way if we do a negative mod, like -1 mod 4 is -1, we add that to the ID, it goes back to 3. So what that should do is let me bounce back and forth. I clearly wrote that wrong. because I got my parentheses wrong. So what do I want? I actually want 4 plus the ID mod 4. I think that's what I want. No. I want 4 plus the ID mod 4. That should do it. Yeah, that sounds right. Because if the ID is like 0 and I do a -2, I get -2. That makes it 2. Should be all right. There we go. So now it circles around, and it's good enough. Cool. All right. So now I actually want to teleport my user there. And that's going to be pretty tricky when we move to VR, because teleportation is a little bit trickier in VR. But for now, I want to do this. I want to kind of get out of this 2D mode, which is killing me. I want to establish like 4 teleport points that we can go to, and they should each be pretty much in the middle. So I'm going to create an empty object called teleport points. Make sure it's at 0, 0, 0. And then I'm going to create empty children of that. Create empty, and I'm just going to call this guy TP. That's fine. Let's see, where do I want him? Like -5? No, -7.5? 7.5. Maybe 10. And then I'm going to rotate him 180. Work with me here. Rotate him 90. I feel like the old rotation scheme isn't working out. What's going on with my teleport point? Whoa. Right. Come on, rotation. Not really doing it for me. I gotta figure that out. Right. Okay, so you see this little button here? It changes from global to local view for these types of rotations. I want it on local because I want to represent that I'm rotating this. The reason I'm rotating that is because when I want to teleport to this room, I want to be facing that way. I don't want to teleport just facing a wall. So I'm okay with that guy. I'm going to give him a little tag so I can see him. We'll make him green. He's a teleport spot. And when I have the world in the correct view, I want 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's make copies. And this guy should be at 7.5. That's quadrant 2. This guy should be at -10 and rotated around. There we go. And then this guy should be at -10, 7.5, and rotated around. Those are going to be my 4 teleport points. And they're going to map to the 4 little icons that we built on our Shield minimap. So then the player code to teleport the player, you know, we kind of have to pay attention. But we're going to be teleporting the PC player game object with the camera and everything else. This is going to be quite different for VR. But let's take the right script, which is called the PC test player, and let's make this happen. So if you do one of these moves, you get a new icon and you can teleport to the right spot. Let's get our spots. We will call them transforms. They are going to be the TPS, the teleport points. Yeah. We're going to initialize that to be an array of size 4. I'm going to drag those teleport points in the exact same order I built them in. So that we can jump to them. And then it shouldn't be too bad. Once you've done that, you can basically say actually, let's be careful. So this is the player. The player is a child of the PC player. So I want to teleport the parent in this case. So that's transform.parent.position is equal to TPS teleport selector dot current ID dot position. I think I also want to do the rotation. So when you teleport, you find yourself facing what I consider to be forward in that room. It's the same code no matter what. I could copy and paste it 4 times, or I could put it here. But if I put it here, it'll execute no matter every frame, no matter what. I only want it to execute when the if statement happens. Since this is temporary code that we're going to replace in the Vive, I'm just going to do this the bad way. All right. That should do it. Let's give it a go. So, oh yeah, it's a little intense every time you hit an arrow key to be bouncing. I am, it is working though. So let's make this a little bit different. Let's say if input dot get button down. We're just going to use the pre-configured jump button here. If you hit space, then do the teleport. I don't need to teleport as soon as I hit the arrows. I want to teleport only when you press jump. It should be a little bit more gentle because now you can use the arrow keys to move around your selector, and then you hit jump to teleport. Cool. So that's basically it. From here, you have to integrate it with the Vive, and then you need to probably add some sound effects, make the particle effects really pretty, and just have fun. So thanks for watching, and good luck with your Vive.